topics and opinions expressed in the following show are solely those of the hosts and their guests and not those of W4CY Radio, its employees, or affiliates. We make no recommendations or endorsements for radio show programs, services, or products mentioned on air or on our web. No liability, explicit or implied, shall be extended to W4CY Radio or its employees or affiliates. Any questions or comments should be directed to those show hosts. Thank you for choosing W4CY Radio.
Welcome to the Ask the Expert show on W4CY Radio and Talk4 TV, where we bring you educational information from top local experts in the fields of legal, health, financial, and home improvement. Now sit back and listen to experts in family law, association law, hearing loss, business brokers, home care, along with many other topics. Now here are your hosts, Steve-O and Sophia.
Hey, good afternoon, Houston. Welcome to another Ask the Expert show where we bring you the finest experts in the field of legal, health, financial, and home improvement. This is the first Friday of the month, so that means our estate planning show. We have a great show planned for you for the next 25 minutes, and then after that, we've got another great expert. Let me introduce you to our expert. This is from the Dean Law. This is Calla Sprague. Good afternoon, Calla.
Hi, guys. How are you?
We're doing fine. Let's see, are we there? Oh, there you are. Okay. Hey, we're not the Weather Channel, but how's the weather in Houston?
It's already hot, to be honest. It's already 80 degrees today and high humidity. So I think we're on track for summer already.
Oh my gosh. You know what? I hate the word summer because like you, we're here in Florida and that means hurricane season.
Oh, I know.
So that's the only thing that we dread. But anyway, you are with one of the finest estate planning firms in the state of Texas with the Dean Law Firm. You're out of Sugar Land, Texas. Tell people all you know about the Dean Law Firm.
Sure. So we have 3 attorneys. Julia Dean, who's been practicing for roughly 36 years. She has always done estate planning and probate. So estate planning, is making your plan. Probate is sometimes seeing it through. We have Jonathan Sterneman, who has been practicing for 12 years. And we have myself, who I've been practicing for 9 years. All of us all in estate planning the entire time, probate our entire careers. We've got a really great support staff. We've got 2 paralegals. We have one that's starting Monday, and we have a head paralegal who is just maybe the greatest thing on earth. If you ask me.
I bet I've talked to her before.
I'm sure you have. And then we've got some great legal assistants in there too that just make our lives easier. To be honest, it's just a great place to work. I think what it sets it apart for me, why I chose to come to the Dean Law Firm as opposed to somewhere else, is the level of detail and care and just every single one of us, from our receptionist to Julia and all in between. We care. We want to help our clients. We want to do right by them, and we want to do it efficiently and effectively. And I think that's what really led me to pick the Dean Law Firm when I was job hunting and or when I was choosing. And Julia is just an amazing person who you just kind of see her heart the minute you meet her. And I think
totally agree.
I think actually, and I think that's true of kind of all of us. I can't speak for myself because I don't know, how I'm perceived, but Jonathan and Regina and the whole entire team is just so fantastic. And I think our clients see that too. We've got some really good reviews on Google, and, and some of them are current, and that's wonderful that those clients feel so inclined to talk so good about us, so it speaks volumes to us. So thank you to all those people who do that. But yeah, I think that's what kind of the Dean Law Firm is, we're almost kind of like a little family on our own. And it's just a really great place to be.
I got to tell you, Julia has been with the show for a long time. And one of the things about estate planning is I truly believe because we do this all over the country. And I have learned, and a lot from Julia, that it takes a certain kind of person to practice estate planning. And one of the things that stand out has nothing to do with legality at all is I think you've got to have a caring heart.
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
Julia, without a doubt, I mean, she is probably one of the most caring people that I've ever met. And we're talking about, hey, I want to take care of my family when I pass away, and that's
Right.
not the greatest topic to talk about.
Yeah.
But and then after you being on the show for a while, I have total confidence in you, and I know how important people are to you.
That really is it. And I do think you're right. I mean, I think all attorneys care to some degree, but I think in estate planning, it helps to have an attorney who cares a whole lot because like you said, it's it's people are trusting us with everything. That's how I always see it. You're trusting us with everything that you've accumulated in your life. And whether that be a dollar or billions and billions of dollars, it doesn't matter. I see it as that is your life's work and you wanting to leave that to whether it be your children or whether it be your nieces and nephews, whoever it is, charity. I like to get to know people. And I think that's a fantastic way to get to know them is because you learn everything about them. You learn their kids' names and,
Exactly.
I know grandkids' names. And I just think it's a really cool part of the law, I guess, for lack of a better term, but where you do get to care and you can kind of, um, take care of people. And I love to take care of people. So, I think that Julia shares that sentiment, and that's why I think she's been such a fantastic boss and somebody to work for, and that's what makes her such a great estate planner as well. I mean, like you said, she definitely cares. You can tell that in minutes, within seconds of meeting her, that she definitely cares, and that transcends, I think, well into our plans because the more we care, the more we can ask, the more we can, get to know you on a deeper level where we can kind of take care of what you want to happen and protect your own loved ones, possibly from themselves or outside forces. And yeah, I do think that every one of us cares a lot. And I can only speak about myself, but I also know that to be true of Jonathan and Julia as well.
So we just got a text from Bel Air, Texas. Is there a
Yeah.
Bel Air? Okay.
Yeah. It's a
Um,
Houston suburb.
I'm so glad there's a show like this on. Can you explain to me? I keep hearing the term elder law. What is elder law?
Sure.
You get that
Um,
question sometimes.
and that is a good question. I mean, so elder law is kind of a subsection of estate planning. So as people age, they face different hurdles in their life, whether it be aging from like dementia or Alzheimer's. So we try to sort of plan for the unexpected when it comes to that. So part of that usually is some kind of will or a trust plan. But also there can be talks about qualifying for Medicaid. There can be talks about, how who's going to take care of you if something like that does happen to you, if you are unable to take care of yourself. Those are the kinds of things that we do in like an elder law consult. We kind of try to, it's an estate planning, but through the lens of knowing that people are aging and they're facing sort of possible hurdles and that you can't plan for. I mean, you don't know when or how a dementia can get you, so it's just kind of trying to plan for the
So does
unexpected.
that include long-term care?
Yes, that is, and that is the Medicaid, trying to qualify for long-term care, and they're talking to us about long-term care policies and things like that you can purchase well in advance. And so sometimes those conversations, although they're elder law conversations, they do need to happen even with a younger client because if that's going to be an issue, you can get ahead of it and plan for long-term care in multiple ways.
I got to tell people, and I know guardianship is another area that you cover, but I got to tell people out there, it's okay if you don't know about this. There's not like a school you can go to.
That's
And,
so true.
and right, and I learned the hard way with guardianship because I have an autistic daughter.
Mhm.
And when she turned 18, I was in for a surprise in my life. And
No,
basically, in layman's terms, the state kind of takes over
they do.
if you don't file the proper papers. And I got to tell you, if you have a child, and it just came out about autistic children, it's like 1 out of every 100 children
Mhm.
born are born with autism.
Yeah.
And I think that it's so important that they come sit down with you
Mhm.
because there's so much to learn. And it goes for long-term care too. There's things
Right.
that you don't think about that you've got in your head.
Yeah. And I tell clients this all the time. I wish there was like a hotline for some of these
Yeah,
questions that you could just ask, because
right.
it's like in Medicaid questions and insurance questions and things like that. You can like to call Medicaid, you just sit on the phone for 4 hours and then they
Right.
disconnect and then
Yes.
you never get through. So some of those questions, I really love that I have an opportunity to answer some of these things for people, because I think it's hard for people because like you in your situation, you had no idea that that's what needed to happen. You assumed, probably like every parent, I'm going to always be able to take care of my kid because of course I can. Why would the state want to take care of them when I'm willing to? But they
Right.
come in immediately when that child turns 18, and it's a different scenario. And then it's different in every county. So in Texas, we're located in Fort Bend County, but we do a lot of work in Harris County because that's where Houston is. And you can't move people without telling the court. So there's lots of little intricacies that people just don't know. And yet come and see us, come and talk to us if you have one of those issues, or if just, and you can give us a call at any time. I know our number runs, I believe, at the bottom. I can give it out.
Yes. Tell people the number because we have so many people who are listening now on iHeart and Pandora and
Sure.
Spotify that don't see the YouTube.
Yeah, it's 281-277-3326. And like I said, call us. I think that's the best way to get some of these things answered. If you mention this, we give free consults. So, call us and hopefully maybe it's something we can help with. And if not, maybe you just get some information out of it. So,
And you know what? I got to tell you, ever since I learned that uh, Prince, who we've talked about too on the show, passing away with all the managers and people running his business, the guy
mhm.
didn't even have a will. And
No,
you know what, Cal, I got to tell you, people think estate planning, it means you have to be a multimillionaire
right,
or it's not important to have a will. It
right.
is so important to have
Yep.
a will or a trust. And I want
Right.
you to talk about the, the difference between a will and a trust.
Sure. So a will is kind of a traditional what you think of. Tells you who's in charge and where your stuff goes when somebody passes away. In the state of Texas, though, when you pass away with a will, it does require a probate process. That probate process is how we get assets out of the deceased person's name into the heirs into their heirs or whoever they left it to under their will. So that is sort of a will plan, but there's a trust plan where it has to be funded during your life, but it works at almost the same way. It still says, hey, this is where all my stuff goes. But we put everything you have inside it now. And what that does is that avoids the probate process. Probate isn't terrible in Texas. It is just one court date, but it's expensive and it takes time. So we can help you avoid that. And even just coming to talk to us, hey, I don't think I need this trust. What other ways can we avoid probate? There are other ways you can put beneficiaries on accounts. And I only talk about this because, people who don't leave behind a lot of money, you're right, they think I don't need a plan. You almost need a plan more so that you protect at least what you have. So, and I don't mean that in a way to, imply that you don't have anything, because you do. You have stuff and you have people that you love that you wanted to honor in any way. And if that's, like I say, $1 in a bank account or $1 billion in a bank account. It's what you have to give them. And to me, that's a gift. And you don't need to pay attorneys when you pass away and court fees and things like that. So if we can help you avoid probate, we can make sure everything you do have does pass to the people that you want it to, and do it pretty seamlessly, to be completely honest.
I got to tell people, I want to share this with you, and I've told you this before. When I first started with Julia, and I think it's been about 4 years now, when I first started, the very first thing she said to me was, I want to keep my clients out of probate. Now, let me tell you what that means. Probate is very expensive.
It is.
Very time consuming. And to have an attorney, you make a living on billing hours, saying, I want to keep my clients out of probate. I was so impressed with that.
It really, and we kind of do, that is kind of our motto. I mean, really, if we can help you avoid the probate, we will do our very best. And, I think what sets us apart in that respect too is any attorney, any estate planning attorney will sell you a trust. They will, and they'll do a good job. Most of them. I really believe that fully. But what sets the Dean Law Firm apart, in my opinion, is we take the extra step to make sure that you have everything inside that trust, so that when you do pass away, there is absolutely zero reason to probate. And I think by doing that, we try at least. Also, if you're like me, when I have a long to-do list, when someone passes away and I'm the executor, and now all of a sudden I have a to-do list the length of my arm, I start to feel overwhelmed. I don't have time to grieve. So with a trust plan, you can start your sort of grieving almost immediately, because you don't do that. You don't have that long administrative to-do list of going to court and all these things. And at the end of the day, it's going to save you money in the long run. Probate is expensive. And most importantly, it is incredibly time consuming. And I know we're running out of time, so I'll wrap up. But
Okay.
I think the big thing is that what people don't tell you about probate is when you pass away, banks and institutions like that can freeze your accounts. And that is what you want, because if you're dead and gone, I hate to say that, but if you're in the ground, you don't want somebody spending out of your checking account or your savings account. You want it to protect you, but that also then immediately stops access for your children or for your grandchildren, or your spouse, possibly, if your spouse isn't on that account as well. And that can stop access if your children aren't well off and they need possibly some of your money to help pay for funeral costs and stuff like that. That immediate shut off is kind of scary. And kids usually call us at that point and they're like, well, we're locked out of mom's bank account. Well, the bank is really trying to protect you, but in doing so, it can have some negative consequences. So I think that's really a reason I prefer to avoid probate. I also, just like I said, from an administrative standpoint, if you can do all the administrative work for your children, it's almost an extra gift for them not to have to go through probate. It is, and I've been through hundreds of probate hearings.
From Dickinson?
Yeah, I know where Dickinson is.
Oh, this is a great question. How do you keep feelings from being hurt when an executor is named?
That's a good question. Honestly,
that is a good question.
Transparency. First of all, you can blame the attorney. When I say transparency, I mean tell the kids in advance. Tell them, hey, you're going to be the one that is the executor because you're the oldest, or because you're really good with money, or whatever it is. Be honest with them, first of all. And if you think it's really going to cause problems, you can do 2 executors at one time. People don't always think about that, but both of your kids can serve. It can cause some issues. And so we want to talk about those kinds of things. But that's the big one. I think the other, I also think most times it's usually people can pick the oldest child, so you can say that. And when I said you can blame the attorney, tell them I told you that it was the best option. They'll never know. I mean, really, I can be the bad guy. It really is okay. And I tell people that all the time. I'm like, blame me. It's okay. So I think that's another thing, is just say, hey, she said it made most sense because you were right here in Houston. Or, she said it made more sense because you weren't here in Houston. Whatever it is, you can just kind of blame me. So
she just did a follow-up. She said, I have 4 adult children,
Mhm.
and it has really caused a problem. But
No,
I like your idea about blaming the attorney.
good. Yeah, blame me.
LOL.
We could talk about it, but you can name all 4 of your children. That could be a logistical nightmare for multiple reasons, but if they're all here in Texas, it might not be so terrible. And you can talk, those duties for executor do end kind of once the probate's over. So, maybe they just dislike each other for a little bit. We could talk about, if you were doing a trust plan, what that would look like. And kids can then become their own trustee in those situations. So, there's definitely ways around it, but yeah, feelings, you don't want to hurt your children's feelings, that's for sure.
Yeah, I could see where that would cause major trouble. Someone just asked, what was the strangest thing since you've been an attorney that a person has given everything to?
Well, I've had people leave it to the dog a lot. Frequently, it gets left to the dog or the cat. Now, as you can imagine, Fluffy the dog cannot sue. They cannot advocate for themselves. So this is a very hard thing to tell people, but you love your dog. Not everyone else loves your dog, so you can't give your dog $100. You have to give someone that you trust $100 to take care of your dog with the $100. And I always tell people it is a possibility that they go and buy that dog the biggest, cheapest bag of dog food and they take off with the money. So you really have to trust whoever you're leaving the money for the pet. But the pet was the craziest thing I've seen.
Well, somebody just wrote a question in that I have on my list. I wanted to make sure I asked you, but they just wrote in, I'm really enjoying the show. I'm surprised there's not more podcasts out there like this. They want to know, how often should you have your will updated?
The attorneys will tell you 3 to 5 years. Okay. That's the kind of, normal answer. I tell people when big things happen in your life, if you have a grandkid or if you have a new child or child gets married, you get divorced, big life changes. If nothing else, sometimes can just be a call to the attorney. Hey, do I need to update right now? I had a client call not long ago. Hey, my daughter got married. She's got a new name. Hey, you don't need to change your will if you don't want to. If she wants to see her new married name in there, sometimes children are sensitive. They want their new name. But I said, your executor's still going to know who she is. And I love to tell people, hey, you don't need to update anything. I'll be honest with you. I'm not going to sell you something I don't think you need. And I know Julia wouldn't either. And neither would Jonathan. And so I think that's a big thing, because I think people are always afraid to call their lawyer and ask, because they're going to say, well, of course they're going to tell me, yeah, I need an update, because that's how they make the money. I'll be honest with you. Like I told a client a couple months ago, no, don't worry about it. Your daughter's still who she is. The executor's going to know who she is. Don't worry about a name change. And, she can prove it with a marriage license then. So things like that, just love to tell people that you don't have to update. So just call. But 3 to 5 years is the regular answer. But I think.
Oh, I got to tell you, I love your energy. Tell people how they can reach your office.
So we are located in Sugar Land. The number is 281-277-3326, and juliadeanlaw.com is our website, and we've got some good information on there. So just give us a call.
Well, you'll be back again with us next week. This show has become so important that we'll be replaying it in 2 weeks at the same time. Kayla, we'll see you next month. Thank you so much. We had so many more questions, as you know, but we had a lot of people. Texas.
We'll be back next month.
For sure. Have a wonderful week. God bless you.
Thank you so much. Have a good afternoon.
That's Kayla Sprague, attorney Kayla Sprague, the Dean Law Firm. We're going to go to a quick break, and we'll be right back with our next expert.
Thanks for tuning in today to the Ask the Expert show on W4CY Radio and Talk4 TV. Tune in next week and every week to hear more from our experts on personal injury, insurance, air condition repairs, estate planning, Medicare, and many other topics in the areas of legal, health, financial, and home improvement. See you next week.